Hello, everybody. Cal Griffin here. Let me do my disclaimer and we'll get into what we got to do. This is this podcast is, let me do my disclaimer that I do not recognize any sect, religious background, beliefs, political beliefs, orientations, or anything that is going to be a hot topic, no political. And if you do join us, which we would love it if you would, that any topics that get brought up that are hot button topics, you'll be asked to refrain. And if it's broached again, you will be shut off and locked out. So, because this is neutral ground. And with that being said, let's get into this here. So, hello, everybody. Uh, and I'm going to be doing things a little different this month in recognition of men's health. And I'm going to also be working it with Jediism as well. So, and I've got some statistics here that I think will lead into with empathy. And that in Jediism, one of the things and one of the areas it's practiced is empathy. And that though there are members in the community that do suffer from some mental challenges and some mental health, that however, since, as I said, this is Men's Mental Health Month, I'm going to be leaning towards that in my podcast. And it's starting to take more notice because of the attention and the ground that's being gained due to other areas in society that have made life difficult for men, and that light has been getting shed on what men have to deal with and what we don't talk about. And so, and this is where the empathy comes in, that, and I'm going to shed light into the male mind during this, is that men, we don't talk much. We generally express our emotions in a few basic ways. And this is where the work that men do and have recognized for self-improvement, that that men are known to do on their own in a way, that when we recognize there is a problem with us, we work on it, we reflect on it, and we work to change it. But there have been expectations that have been laid on men that, quite frankly, have driven men to become more reclusive, that have driven us away from areas in society where the appreciation of it, and being men and being male. And I'm not saying this as I'm not putting this as a victim. Okay. Some of you may be saying, oh, he's coming at it from a victimatic role. No, actually, on the contrary, is that men hold their emotions and process them differently. And this is where the lack of understanding comes in. Of that, where I speak of empathy, is that men want to talk. We want to say what's on our minds. However, it's been put to us that if we actually said what we were really thinking and really want to express, it could come across as very offensive. So we have to hold in what we actually want to say. Because, quite frankly, it would cause some people to be truly butthurt. And I say that out of honesty. And men do want to share. But however, in doing so, they are seen as it being toxic. Because we will and do express our emotions in two very basic ways. One in anger and aggression, and the other by shutting down and keeping distance. And that's because what we truly want to say is honest. It's truthful. And in doing so, not everybody can actually handle it. And so what we do is shut that off. We become quiet. We do things to help us process it. If not, quite frankly, it could get very ugly. And we know this. So, what has been said to be toxic that we don't share and are emotionally available is because we don't process emotions the same way a female does. It's not in our makeup. We don't work that way. It is, frankly, it is harmful to a man to try to process and get that in touch with our emotions and feelings. I speak from experience. That in itself is poisonous to a man, and it damages us mentally because we begin to question who we are. We begin to question ourselves and our masculinity. And this is where the empathy of others needs to be heard. It needs to be practiced. There's a saying, it's better to understand than to be understood. And men want to be understood. And it's a two-way street that we will understand also. We want to. We like to solve problems. We like to work solutions. And we don't want to go into all the why, the who's, the how's. We want to see things happen. And this is where, in Jediism, we seek to self-improve. We seek to practice those steps and the workings of it. Men are highly reflective. We are highly we evaluate on levels. That's why we get quiet sometimes. That's why we get quiet a lot of times, because we're problem solving. We're working to find a way for the better of everybody and for those involved that we find important in our lives, that we hold dear to our hearts. Now, there are statistics that I don't think everybody's aware of, that really make men more in danger for some things, because we don't have resources as available to us. And that puts us in another position, that we only see that way to go. I'm not making excuses, but those are options that we have are very few. And that one that we turn to are drugs and alcohol. And that sets us up for other self-destructive ways. And we would like to be able to go to those that we trust, a trusted friend. But when we do so, don't throw it back at us. That's not being empathetic. That's not being compassionate. And men are very compassionate and very empathetic. We like to be. We want to be. But we also want to be heard. And when things are said, people say things, groups say things, that's just being toxic. No, it's not. It's because we observe. We take account to everything that goes on around us. We just don't have the filter, but we work very hard to keep it. And we fight against tendencies to not actually say what we want to actually say. For example, since I'm going to go on the freedom of speech here, since that protects this. Here's an example of what a man would say. You've got people that, here's a scenario. You have a couple of people that are whining and crying over something, and it's been continuing. And there's this bickering that goes on, and it's affecting others around him. Now, a man would come to a point of his patience will be tested. And if he's had enough, he will step in. And this is what he would say. And I speak from my own, but I think some would agree with me on this. Is like, why the hell don't y'all just shut the hell up, get over it, and quit whining and crying and tit for tat and being babies and grow the hell up and get the hell over it? You've got things you got to do. Quit wasting everybody's time. Frankly, I'm tired of seeing it. I'm tired of hearing it and everybody else bitch about it. Get to doing what you need to be doing. I don't want to hear anything else about it. If I do, both of you are gone. I don't want to hear any excuses anymore. Get on with it. How many people would that offend if a man actually said that? How many people would get their feelings hurt over it? But we can't do that. We have to restrain ourselves from doing that. And that's what a man has to look out for, because they're criticized for being honest. And people want honesty, but they don't want honesty that's true, real honesty. But people say, oh, we want real honesty. No, you don't. Frankly, you couldn't handle it. Now, I'm sure there's some people out there that listen to this podcast that will agree with that, and they will go, yes, we need to hear more of that. I hope you would, because I would love to be able to say more of what I actually think in Jediism. Instead, I have to be careful about how and what I say. So, in this month, I'm going to be doing multiple parts. I'm going to be hopefully bringing some awareness. Like, for example, here's one. And this is actually really how it is that how many women's shelters are there? There are about every shelter out there. Every shelter that is available, 95% of them are for women that need a place to go, to have a safe place to go. That leaves only 3 to 5% for men. Now, think about that percentage and that ratio. There's 3 places a man can go right off the top. Go to the Salvation Army, which that's a limited stay. He can go to an institution, or he can go to the street. Or he turns to alcohol and drugs. Because men also suffer from abuse and neglect. It's not talked about. We don't talk about it. Because we would be seen as less of a man. Now, here goes to my point. Okay. In the UK, there is a 75% rate of suicide in the UK. Now, we might get flagged for that and me saying that, but self-deletion, ending one's life, that's in the UK, the United Kingdom. 75% of men, that's 75% of the self-deletions in the UK. People don't talk about that number. They want to hide that number. And that's with men. Now, there are other methods. And that information comes from the JHP. And that's the JHP medical in the United Kingdom. That's a cited reference. Now, in this, that diminishes, and that affects men's mental health. There's gaslighting that goes on with that. Oh, no, you're just making a bigger deal out of it. No, you'll be okay. If only, if you're a real man, real men don't do this. Real men do that. How do you think that makes a man feel? Oh, you're just having a bad day. Is he really? Or is this is something he's been holding inside? He really needs to stay. Oh, my marriage is in the tubes. My wife is cheating on me. Well, what did you do? How do you think that comes across? What if the guy's doing everything he's supposed to do? But oh, what did you do? How did you make her that mad? Why did she go do that? What did you not do? What are you doing to her? How would that sound to you? And wouldn't you not want to say anything? Just go on about your day and just go, okay, I'll carry on. I've got stuff I've got to do, and I'll deal with this other later. So we put that into the back of our minds. Well, I've got to keep going. Still got bills I've got to pay. I've got a family I've got to provide for. and a cheating wife. Just think about that. Why would a guy want to go out and drink? Huh? He's burying his pain. He is in anguish. There's a saying, do not suffer in silence. How can someone not suffer in silence if they're not being heard and they're being blamed? Now, I'm not saying that we're not innocent, but we're not as guilty as some would lead to believe we are. And that's, emotional abuse. And also, we go into areas of shaming. What did you do? You knew better than that when the guy did nothing wrong. He's being shamed for somebody else, he's being blamed for somebody else's actions. He's being made to be the bad guy. Again, I'm not trying to claim victim here, but I am saying that this is a reality. Again, I speak from experience because there was a period of time when, in a marriage I was in, I was ignored. I was put on the back burner and placed fifth on the list of importance. And that made me shut down and check out of the marriage. I wasn't important enough. And I wasn't really honestly talked with, or I couldn't honestly talk. Oh, I need more of this from you. Okay. To be a good husband, I'm going to do what I have to do in order to do everything I can to make a marriage work. There were things I didn't do, but yet they weren't brought to my attention either. And if they were, it was in somebody else's best interest, not mine. But yet, it wasn't enough. Now, here's another statistic. I was talking about being the self deletion rate in the UK, 75%. 75% of the suicides in the UK, that's of men. And that could be even higher due to it being unreported of the cause. Or that person just may not be found. Now, along with that, men are 3 times more likely to self delete because of society and the stigmas. Think about that. Is that being empathetic? Is that being compassionate? 3 times more likely. Mix alcohol and drugs with that. that increases the rate. 3% or 3 times more likely. Again, there are other things in there that can go unreported. And along with that, when one is trying to be a man, that's considered toxic, and he's shamed for it. Isn't Jediism? Aren't we about paying attention and being of service? If somebody's got a problem, aren't we to be of service to help that person out and not put them aside? You know, one of the things in Jediism and in the community is that there are a few that ruined it for everybody. And yet you still justify ruining it for everybody. Shame on you. You ruined it for everybody. You and your arrogance. You and your self-conceited. Your self-importance. You claim to be a Jedi. That, because of that, you made other people weary of men. You gave us a bad name. And there's some other choice words I have for you, but I'm going to leave them be. Now, in America, here in the United States, now keep in mind, in the UK, 75%. Take a guess on what it is here in the United States. Good old America. I'll let you think about it for a minute. It's not 70, it's not 76%. It's not 75%. It's 80% higher here in America. And we claim to be one of the best countries in the world. Are we? We are better than this. Now, I know I'm getting a bit heated here on this, but this is the importance. And that here are the ages 75 and older, 43.9% at risk. And that adds to, and that's part of that 80%. 25 to 44, almost 30%. 29.6%. Okay, we'll say 30%. How many of you actually knew that? But men are toxic. But we still have to carry on. And I'm going to say this, and this is statistically, is that this is higher than women. That's 5.9% out of 100,000. And in men, it's 68% out of 100,000. It's a pretty damn high rate, isn't it? So 100,000, well, that's a lot of people, isn't it? How much of that could have been prevented by more attention being paid? I'm going to let you think about that. There was a time when I could have been and was very close to being a statistic myself, because I had to keep my mouth shut. I had to swallow. And there were times I came very close to the point of, which car am I going to step out in front of just to end it? And I couldn't say. True story. But because of, I didn't want to let other people down and disappoint other people, I didn't. At the time, I had a wife and a stepdaughter, and I still had to find a way to make things work for that. That gives you a picture. I'm just one man, but I would have been a statistic. And if I had gotten hit by that car, if I had done that, what would that have done to the driver and possibly the passengers and my wife and stepdaughter and my own family? It would have been just me or the immediate. It would have been six other people, my brothers, my mom, my dad, and not even to mention my relatives. So exponentially, it affects more than just the immediate. Now, I know this is different and off the beaten path than what I normally do here, but it goes with it. If everybody did the same of what they ask, would these statistics be higher or lower? Probably be a bit lower. And it's disappointing, to say the least. Now, I might get a strike on this one. That's fine. But if I'm getting a message out, okay, I'll eat it gladly. But it needs to be said. And there are other things that have been put in front of Men's Mental Health Month. As far as I know, this is the first time it's ever come up. Or has it just been buried and ignored over to other celebrations? And yet we didn't say anything. But now it's showing its head. It can't be ignored anymore. But also in Jediism, we're there to help. We're there to be in service of those and speak for those that can't speak. Protect those that cannot protect themselves. Are those that are helpless, we help. Doesn't that also go with men's mental health? Quit being so biased and thinking of yourselves. Quit thinking of just the I. Put your ego aside. Put your pride away. Quit projecting. And be more concerned about what you can do something about. Don't tell somebody to just meditate. Are you doing any good when you tell somebody to meditate who's on the edge? Are you? And we wonder why people go to the Sith, go to the dark side. The dude needed to be heard. And that's a young person, 20 years old, who becomes angry. Have you ever seen what an angry 20-year-old says about the Jedi in a Sith order? It is hideous. It is pure anger. He got turned away. He was misled. He was taken advantage of. And he's angry. And we wonder why people go to the dark side. Wake up. Be accountable. Isn't that what Jedi are supposed to be, is accountable? You're damn right we are. Pull your head out of the sand. Wake up. Sorry. We have to be better than we are. I'm asking. Be better than you are. Put what isn't important away and look at what is. Human life is important. The protection of human life is important. The need for that is paramount. In your studies, look at that. Acknowledge it. reflect on it, look at it deeply. And if you're getting gaslighted, what I mean by that is somebody changed the topic or just makes it not as important and they talk about something else. Tell that person to shut up. Say, I really need to talk here. I don't want to hear anything else about this other stuff. I need to say something. This is where I am. And listen to that person. Listen to him. I know I'm coming across a bit angry. I know I'm coming across a little more intense than I normally am. But this is a very sensitive topic. It's important. And I want people to think, what could I have done to prevent? Does that sound like I'm guilting somebody? Probably. Maybe a little of that needs to happen. Maybe a little more shaming does need to happen and making some people feel guilty. A little bit of that goes a long way. A little medicine. No one said that anything that's healthy is always tastes good. And not everything good is always pretty. Now, if I've offended some people today in this, I hope I have. I hope I have made you mad. But on the other side, I hope you have heard. I hope you have listened. Now, I'm going to be doing this more and talking about this topic more this month. And I hope that this reaches the people it needs to reach. And for those that are in need, if nothing else, if you're in that place where you don't see a way out, call somebody, get that help. And if you have to, slap somebody and tell them, I need to talk, I need help. And if you have to, check yourself in somewhere. And I failed to get a number to post it, but I will. And in my next podcast, I will have a number, or at least for somebody here in the United States. But don't feel that it's that bad. Men, you are heard. You're not alone. I know a lot is expected of us. But if we weren't men, we wouldn't be able to handle it, right? Get the help you need. Don't be afraid. A man will. A real man will. It's okay to get better. It's okay to say, I need to take time to myself. I really need to go talk to somebody that can truly help me because you're not. Well, hi, Max. I've got a cat that walked in front of my camera. Really? Come on, man. Seriously? Well, thank you for moving. So I'm glad that cat walked in front of my camera. It made me step back for a moment. So, anyway, I'm going to be bringing more out. And I'm going to be, like I said, addressing this month. And then I'll go back to my regular stuff. But in light of this is also as important because it is looking out for human life. It's hopefully to help protect it or to help find ways to protect it and to preserve it and cherish it. But I want to leave each of you with a thought. If you feel you have to suffer in silence, scream. If you feel that if you scream, it will offend, then offend. If it gets you noticed because you are in need, then so be it. But do what you must. Some people's time is not yet to come to join the force. Life is precious. Treat it as such. Thank you. Tal Griffin out.